Hey everybody, this is SPEW.
My name is Jesi.
And I'm Shelby.
And we are the space age people entering wormholes. You're listening to a nerdy feminist podcast for feminist nerds, where every week we talk about different nerdy shenanigans and how it relates to feminism.
Yep, and this is our third episode, so hopefully you guys have already listened to number 1 and number 2. If you did listen to number 2, we had mentioned that Jesi and I were going to be going to Megacon this week. We wanted to talk a little bit about that this time. We have some interesting comic book news. We have a very special guest, at least special to me. And we're also going to be talking about the homework we assigned each other last episode, in which I am forcing Jesi to watch Gotham. She hates Batman. Everybody remember that? And Jesi is making me watch Firefly, which we did. So you'll hear all about that in this episode.
Awesome. So let's move on to our first topic. We want to get to Megacon. We went to Megacon this past weekend, up in the great state of Tampa.
It was in Orlando.
Was it in Orlando?
Yeah.
That's what I meant, Orlando. Same
it's
thing.
It's all shit.
It was so far away, I don't even remember where I was. I drove like 3.5 hours there, 3.5 hours back. So I'm still a little lost, honestly.
Traffic is always the worst.
Traffic is the worst. It's so bad. So this was my very first con of any kind. I'd never done a con before. Have you? You're like a seasoned con goer.
I am. I've been to Megacon. I've been to SuperCon.
Yeah.
I've been to Pensacon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is my second Megacon. Last time I went to Megacon, it was about probably about 6 years ago. So a lot's changed. What did you think though as a baby?
Well, I am generally a grumpy grandma, so that came out a lot at Megacon. I'll be honest. I got grumpy grandma like immediately, just because I'm like, I can't figure out where I'm going, and like I had to walk a lot, and I had to carry a bunch of heavy stuff.
These dang kids.
The dang kids
These
running around.
Narutos.
So many Narutos. I don't even know what a Naruto is. Some sort of chip. I don't know. And, so I went as a photographer. Because for anyone that doesn't know, I do photography, and I'd booked several clients to shoot some awesome cosplayers, and I made it my goal for the weekend to every portrait I took, I wanted it to not look like I was at a con, which makes it difficult whenever like they have all movie theater carpet and like really hideous walls and awful lighting. So, but I feel like I did a pretty good job. I found a lot of areas that were off limits, and went in there to do my
true photographer.
Yeah, true photographer. So there was one point where I was literally climbing on a balcony on the second floor.
I know, you're telling me about that.
I climbed over like a planter, and like there's this girl sitting in some like right behind me in some crazy anime costume. I don't know what she was, and she's just sort of looking over her shoulder like, what the fuck is this
looking
girl
at
doing?
you?
Like I'm the weirdo.
Yeah, she's the one wearing cat ears. and shit.
She's whatever. So so that was super fun. But yeah, it was very exhausting. A lot of walking, a lot of run-ins with security guards, a lot of like carrying heavy stuff, and not a lot of signage.
No, and that is actually really disappointing. That's one of the things that I noticed. I mean, Megacon, the first time I went a good couple years ago, it was pretty much set up the same way. I feel like they were able to kind of create a little bit more space this time, but last time you knew where you were going. There was, like you said, there's no signage. There was not really any indication where certain halls were for certain things, and stuff changed last minute on the schedule. And like, I know those things are really hard to run, but I'm also, while we were up there, Jesi and I had seen these people passing out these flyers talking about how the management had recently changed and how they had fired everybody who's worked the con for so long and found people out of state that would do it for a lot cheaper. So, I mean, that actually, just because I'm, like, kind of an asshole, like, I have a hard time. I enjoy being a douchebag with stuff like that. So the whole time I was a little dampered. Like, man, they're stupid. They're bad.
Yeah.
It's like Trump con.
And, like, I felt like a lot of the staff just wasn't super friendly. Like,
no,
like instead
weren't.
of posting signs, they'd post a staff person at a door, and that store person
you.
would just yell at you. Like, you're supposed to go in this door. And I'd be
That's
like,
wrong. It's not even accurate information.
That wasn't the right door at all.
Yeah.
Or you're supposed to stand in this line for 3 hours before you stand in this line for 2 hours, and it was just it was good. But there was so many great costumes, and so I mean the cosplayers out there are so talented, dedicated, and gracious, very nice. I didn't see anybody getting persnickety about like getting stopped thousands of times for pictures or anything like that.
Think about how much time we could spend making adorable costumes if we weren't fucking around with this stupid podcast.
That's what I'm saying. I could be a cosplay like icon by now. Absolutely,
sure.
What would you cosplay as if you could cosplay?
Oh, geez.
Godzilla.
Yes, of course.
Sexy Godzilla.
Yes. And they, or I do like one of those weird mashups, because there was like, I'm sure you noticed, there was 1 million Deadpools and there was 1.5 million Deadpools as something else.
Yes.
So I would be like Godzilla, but Deadpool.
Yeah,
I saw so original.
I saw Trump Pool.
Did you really?
I did see Trump Pool. I
one.
laughed at that one, and I saw the other one that made me laugh was somebody was dressed as the guy from the Old Spice commercials.
Oh, really?
That's like, this is your body on Old Spice or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, look at me, I'm over here, and he was so funny. Like, he just looked hilarious.
That's awesome.
So I was like, I like that the cosplay is more than just like, anime characters or sci-fi characters. Like, people are so broad with what they come up with.
Yeah, so. I was telling, I don't know if I told you, but I was telling Chris, my husband, that I wanted to go as like a white trash Sailor Moon.
Yes.
I feel like that would have been awesome. Like half my hair in curlers, just like shitty makeup and a big fake belly, a little toddler. If someone out there wants to borrow their toddler for a weekend, thanks. On my hip, smoking a cigarette. That'd be awesome. Great. But in my Sailor Moon costume.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I saw somebody that was dressed as Cousin It. And like, from Adam's Family, and I was just like, I just felt so bad for them, because it's Florida, it's so hot, and I was like, you're just covered in hair right now, like, you must feel like straight up armpits. That must just be awful.
Well, and like one thing I noticed too at all the cons that I've been to is there's definitely people who go there for the whole 4 days or 2 days or whatever it's going to be, and they go in and actually do the con one day, and then another day they wear these ridiculous costumes that they're not walking through the front door in. They just go to have their picture taken, and I completely respect it. Mm-hmm. It makes sense to me. They spend that much time working on something. So
absolutely. Overall, amazing costumes. Not so great with some of the management of the con, but for the most part.
And Jesse's feet hurt.
And my feet were hurting. Next time I need a photo assistant or like a photo goblin or something.
Yes, with the toddler. So we both went.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this person my donkey. I hope they're okay with that. So we had a homework assignment also due over the weekend. I hope you did your homework, Shelby.
I did. I kind of did. I did. We were supposed to do, if I remember correctly, 2 episodes of shows that were in the same range. Supposed to be like 45-minute to an hour shows. Yeah. And Jesse gave me Firefly, which I feel like I've been meaning to watch for a while. Anyways, I gave her Gotham.
It's pronounced Gotham.
Yeah,
I believe.
Gotham.
And you know what? I went ahead and because I'm such a good student, I went for extra credit and I watched 3.5 episodes of Gotham. But then I fell asleep on the couch, not because of Gotham, but just I was really tired.
Yeah, sleepy and old.
Yeah, I am sleepy and old. Yeah, my feet still hurt.
If you came in as like an overachiever, I came in at like a solid like C-. Because I watched one.
Awesome.
So, that's, one episode. But it was like an hour and a half long. It was a movie.
That's true. So I forgot that Firefly's first episode is they did.
It's a movie.
Yeah, because I think with Joss, he's been burned before. And I think he was just like, I'm just going to throw as much into this first episode as I can because it might not get picked up at all. Yeah. And thankfully it did, and then it didn't. And but what did you think about the first hour and a half episode?
I liked it. I was a little annoyed at first because I was like, they're going to go with the whole like space western thing, and that doesn't usually work for me. The only thing it's ever worked for me in is there's an older, like late 90s, I want to say, I might be totally off there, but it's an anime called Outlaw Star, which is very not Midwest, but like Western in the future, like, so it was, I don't know, it was similar to that, but I liked it, and I think they actually hit that mark pretty well.
Did you have a favorite character or someone that stuck out to you? It's okay.
Just Nathan Fillion, man. Okay. He's such a goofy motherfucker.
Isn't he great?
He is. He was cool in it. I really liked him. I liked him, and I didn't want to because she's not my type of character, but I really liked Kaylee. Yeah. She was super cute.
She's adorable.
That would be a good cosplay. I actually thought about that while I was watching. She's got like the oriental jacket, but she's wearing mechanics clothes. That would be cute.
I've seen some good Kaylee cosplays, and it's such a like low-key comfortable cosplay too.
Oh my gosh.
If I were a cosplayer, I'd go for the low-key comfortable jumpsuit cosplay. So, absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. I love Firefly. So
it was good. I will watch it. Okay. I mean, I could tell that they put in a lot, like in that first episode, like you said, because maybe it wasn't going to go past that. Yeah. So I'm assuming when I go to watch the second, which I plan on doing at some point, it'll be like a whole new arc. You know what I mean? Because now they have the characters established, and I liked it. I was really impressed with the sets. I thought it was really cheesy. It turns out it's not really.
No, it's really not. Like they take it seriously, but they also like they make fun of a lot of the tropes that come with a lot of sci-fi and Western shows, which I think is great. So, you know, Nathan Fillion's character is a little bit of an anti-hero, but also still a hero on the inside. Yeah. But he'll do things that like a normal hero would avoid doing. Oh, right. So it sort of gives you the more dynamic, and the same with all the characters. They all have like a light and a dark side. Yeah. So Joss is all like about the three-dimensional characters, which I love.
The companion is actually, I mean, you haven't gotten to the episode yet, but there's the lady who plays the companion is actually in Gotham. Yeah. So I don't know have you gotten to that yet?
No, I haven't seen her yet. So I did the first episode, which I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Penguin. And the actor playing Penguin, I like his face.
He's such a cutie.
He's got a good face.
He does.
I like it. And I'm enjoying Fish Mooney, and because my knowledge of Batman is limited to like the first Tim Burton one, and like Batman Forever, like that's my knowledge of Batman is just those movies. Right. Like I didn't know who Fish Mooney was or anything like that. So like I'm enjoying like getting to know like some of these other characters.
That's one of the things that's cool about it is that actually it plays a lot of the Batman comics started off against the mafia, and that's what this show focuses on. It's not so much like, oh, super this and super that, and like Killer Croc, like weird stuff doesn't happen. It's very realistic.
Yeah, the first episode was so melodramatic. Yeah, and like the settings were like they looked like a comic book in like the way that they were setting things. So I felt that that's true to the comic book style, that melodrama and that really sort of fake looking set and all that stuff. So at first I was a little bit like, what? And then I was like, wait, this is based on like comic books. Yeah. So
Gotham's not a real city. They made their, they have to stick true to that. It can't look like, Brooklyn or
something. Exactly. Right. So I'm enjoying that. So yeah, I think I'll keep watching it. It is a little bit, as you described it to me once, like comic book CSI. Yeah. Like, it is a little bit like a detective show, which I'm not super into detective shows, but I'm gonna keep giving it a shot. I'm gonna at least get through the first season, and if that season finale really grabs me, then who knows, season 2 and beyond.
I know I've been wanting to watch it. Yeah. And it's actually I'd like to see what it means to you as someone who's not really familiar with the origin stories of a lot of Batman bad guys. Yeah. Because that's what the whole show is. Every episode, the bad guy, it might not say who he was supposed to be, but he is someone later on. And, like, if you know the comics, you'd be like, oh, that's Scarecrow. Oh, that's this. So
okay, cool. Yeah, that's exciting. Awesome. So let's go ahead and move on to talk about some comic book news that's out there in the world today. I recently read that Fox has announced they're going to have like a little 8 series run of Legion, which I've never read the Legion comic books, but now that I've read about them, I was like, oh, those sound good. I would like to read that. It's an XMen spinoff for anyone that doesn't know, and it focuses on the son of Professor Charles Xavier. Oh, really? Which I never knew he had a son. So that's kind of exciting. And from what I read, it's going to star Dan Stevens.
Who's Dan Stevens?
Dan Stevens is a dreamboat angel from heaven. He's beautiful, and he was in The Guest.
I don't know any of this crap.
Okay, you suck. And he was also in Downton Abbey.
No one cares about that.
It's that was a great show. You're the worst. And but you should definitely watch The Guest. It's awesome. But Dan Stevens, he's a really good actor, real handsome, young, strapping British man. Okay. And Audrey Plaza.
Oh,
she's going to be at it.
April.
Yeah, April's going to be at April Ludgate.
That's awesome.
But apparently the Dan Stevens character, Professor X's son, has schizophrenia. Okay. And he doesn't know that. I guess he doesn't know that his dad was like a famous mutant, and so when he starts realizing that his schizophrenia might also be mutant power related, like shenanigans ensue. So sure. It could be interesting. So what do you think about like having schizophrenia portrayed in like a mainstream show like this?
It's actually really interesting to me. I'm by day, just to bring it down a second for the listeners, I'm actually a counselor for adults that suffer with substance abuse as well as mental health, and it's been something I've been doing for a long time. I run groups, and a lot of the times that I run these groups, I talk very specifically, and I don't like XMen. We talked about that last episode. I don't hate it. It's not my favorite. I talk to my patients about how people who suffer with mental illness, and I always refer to myself as like, it's us, we, that way they don't think I'm talking down to them. It's almost like being real life X-Men, because with schizophrenia, with bipolar mood disorder, with borderline personality, any of that, the real hard hitters that are stigmatized, there's parts of your brain that light up that in other people don't necessarily. So I tell them, I'm like, if you can get past like the substance abuse and some of the harmful side effects or the harmful sides of being, what you are, then you're pretty much like a real life superhero. That's why you got people like Ernest Hemingway and, Einstein, some of these brilliant minds that given if they were born into this time where we have the science, probably would have been heavily diagnosed with some of this stuff. Yeah. So it's funny. I don't know anything about Legion except for what you just told me. Okay. And I'm not even joking. But yeah, I always use that reference.
That's awesome.
Is the XMen one. I always say we're like XMen, mutants.
Yeah. I can totally see that. I think that's a really interesting way to look at it too. So I'm interested to see what they do with Legion. We'll definitely follow it and see how it comes about.
Right.
The other big comic book news story is the big Captain America reveal. Yeah. That's caused a lot of upset.
It has. I've actually gotten I've not lost friendships over it, but there's people I'm not talking to right now.
Right. We're on some icy terms with folks right now. I've never followed Captain America. I saw like the movie, the first one I think, and then obviously Avengers, but I'm not that well versed. But from what I know, like Captain America is like a real super big good guy. He's sort of like American patriotism incarnate, and he really doesn't like fascism.
He does not.
And now they've sort of revealed that he's in with Hydra, which is all about the like super pro-fascism.
Right. It is really loaded. I understand why people are upset, but to kind of give a little bit more of a detailed background, Captain America was almost, in a lot of ways, he was considered like the second big superhero, big comic book character after Superman. Mm-hmm. So when you have Superman that was created in the late 1930s, and then Captain America was the very early 1940s, they were always very neck to neck. And as far as the patriotism, it was all the same thing. It's like, go America, because that was the American dream era. We were fighting the Nazis, and that was the point of both those characters.
Right.
Captain America was created because the people who owned, the CEO, if you will, of what was Marvel at the time, or what Marvel was at the time. They said we need something that'll combat with Superman as far as this, a general idea without copywriting. So we went to these two writers who were Jewish, and they decided, as comic book fans themselves, to make Captain America like a sign against the Nazis. Mm-hmm. So the first issue ever of Captain America is literally him just uppercutting Hitler.
Oh, that's amazing.
So he was considered like this very like American dream, and considering he was written by Jewish individuals.
Right.
Now, what, 60 about 60 years later.
60, yeah.
We've taken him, this writer of the new comic, took him and made it a huge reveal and a reboot of the whole character, because they do that often with comic books.
Yeah.
We run it out of ideas for him, so like, let's remake him. Let's bring him back. So they made him a part of Hydra, and Hydra is today's version of being a Nazi.
Oh, okay.
So really with it, there's a lot of controversy. People are upset because of the whole him being based off of Jewish idea, Jewish power. I guess it's not power; it's the wrong word. But Jewish rights, and now he's a Nazi. But a lot of people also don't understand that's just the way comic books have always been.
Right. And is it possible that I know comic books can be tricky, and is it possible that like this is all a dream, or like he's being controlled by somebody?
Maybe. And what sucks, and like I could go on about this for the whole duration, so I'll kind of try to wrap it up. But what really sucks, and what I've kind of argued with people about is, people really care about Captain America right now because he's Chris Evans, the big shiny star in the movies. Yeah. A lot of the people who love him so much and are so angry about this whole spin, I'm not saying none of them, because I hate to be like a nerd superior or whatever pretentious about it. A lot of these people aren't reading the comics. Right. A lot of these people don't know that comic books do this all the time.
Right.
Just as an example, Superman was a sign for immigration. I mean, he's an alien that came to America and like embraced the American dream. That's what he stands for. And there's a whole line of comics where it's what if he landed in Soviet Russia, and he becomes a weapon of mass destruction that's destroying the very immigrants that he originally. But the difference is that when that story came out in the early 2000s, late 1990s, not sure exactly when, nobody was on Facebook, nobody was like fighting about politics. Not everything had to be, and I hate saying politically correct. I'm a very politically correct person, but there's a whole history in comic books where it's like you have to sit, you have to shut your mouth, you have to read the comics, and you will not be disappointed. Trust the authors who have worked very hard to bring you these characters.
Right.
I do think that it's going to be a sign of corrupt America, which means I think that Captain America is going to have really turned to Hydra, but it's the author's way of saying you see what happens. The most American figures out there can break your heart. That's genuinely what I think it'll come down to. If you steal it now, author, we got problems. But
that sounds intense. That sounds really intense. Yes. Awesome. So we're looking forward to seeing what happens with Captain America. Yeah. To be continued, or whatever comic book thing you said. So we've been teasing up this special guest for a little while now. We're really excited to have our first special guest on the podcast with us. This guest comes to us from very far away, all the way from Shelby's house.
Yep.
Which
all
is
the way from Shelby's bed.
all the way from Shelby's boudoir.
Yep.
We would like to introduce Shelby's one and only husband, Chris.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. So we're really excited. Chris, thank you for joining us today. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be mostly painless. We're going to save the electroshock for the next time we have you on. So we don't do that the first time
I have
someone's
to
a
admit,
guest.
we did try to get Kit Harington in here.
Yeah, and he was a real jerk about it.
He was a really
I'll
big
be
jerk.
honest. Like, he wanted to, like, satellite in, and we told him, we're like, look, Kit, we're doing this in my bedroom, okay? And if you're not willing to come into my bedroom completely naked, then I don't know what your problem is.
I just apologize for the letdown as far as the physique. I don't have.
No,
it's
but
just
we,
you're not
you know,
Kit Harington.
we
That's the
appreciate that Chris came naked, though, and like, thank you for doing that, Chris. That's really nice. So, Chris, we have a couple of. We're just going to ask you a few questions, sort of interview style. So just think of us as Oprah Winfrey.
And I'm Jerry Springer.
Yeah, Jerry Springer. Yeah, and you can just take on like a Tom Cruise persona.
You're Tom Cruise.
You're Tom Cruise.
No jumping on the furniture.
Don't jump on the furniture. Okay. So, Shelby, why don't you take it away, and I'll jump in a little bit.
All right. So, Chris, I'm going to pretend that I am not married to you. Why don't you tell us a few sentences or a paragraph at most about your favorite nerdy stuff? Like, what's your nerd catalog? What do you like? What gets your nerds going?
Basically, to sum it up, I would have to say it's sci-fi, video games, comics, and kind of basically anything that's revolved around that nerd culture.
Mm-hmm.
So what about, like, you said sci-fi, like what?
Sci-fi, if we're going, which sorry to admit it, but Stargate was like one of my like big like nail biters. Like,
the Stargate.
Stargate was
you liked
like,
it?
Yeah, Stargate was like one of my big things.
I want a divorce.
Like, man.
It's over.
I don't know. There was just something I was like super into about it, like the movie, and then they created a TV series in the mid '90s, and I was just super hooked from there. So I'd say probably Stargate was like one of my naughty little in the closets.
That's pretty dang nerdy. I love that. That's really awesome.
So what do you collect? I already know this because we share a house. tell us a little bit about your collection.
As far as like collection wise, I am bad with this new kick that I've been starting with Jay and Silent Bob, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. So I've been like just working my way on getting photos and signings and whatnot with them. Besides that, I would have to say it's like pop figures or the pop dolls. If not that, then anything that has like Star Wars related or artwork from maybe, and I'm not trying to bash artists, but like, you know, kind of the guys that are a little lower scale rather than the mainstream guys.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
Yeah.
As an artist,
I think
that's
it's kind of cool
appreciated.
to support the
the ones
guys
who
who
need
are
it.
coming up, like Frank Miller. I mean, Frank Miller started as one of those guys and came up to, you know, this huge icon.
Yep.
So
somebody had to buy his crappy
yeah.
comics at
So
first.
I kind of like the idea of supporting, you know, the little guy.
So you said Kevin Smith. When we were at Megacon, you got to meet Kevin Smith. Tell us about that.
Okay, so besides the fact of almost crying and vomiting and peeing and pooping my pants at the same time,
I'm sure Kevin appreciates that you contained yourself.
What's really awesome, and not trying to get on like a sensitive level, but it's really cool to have a significant other or a wife, for example, in my case, someone who really supports the passion and drive that you have.
Yeah, that's right. Read that script. Read that script.
You know, and what's funny is that I remember we bought these tickets in February, and I looked at my wife Shelby, and I told her, I was like, hey, we got the money, like they're doing their podcast, this is gonna be in Orlando, let's go. And you know, she said, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, you know, let's go. So bought the tickets, and you know, it's crazy how time flies by, but boom, so we're at Megacon, and we go to the podcast, and like it was everything that I could imagine. A few letdowns, but I'm not going to bash Kevin Smith in any way because I'm just such a huge fan.
Yeah.
But I remember I was actually talking myself out. I sounded like an adult, which sucked. And I was like, man, like, it's $86 to get a photo with him, and like, I could use this $86 to go towards gas.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. Like whenever I was at Megacon, I was considering meeting Billy Piper, and I was like, man, I love Billy Piper, and I love a lot of celebrities, not as much as I love $86 though.
Yeah,
I love $86.
Yeah. So the whole day we're going around the con, and Shelby keeps asking me like, oh, so are you gonna do it? And I was like, I'm gonna think about it a little bit more. And so we're still wrapping up, and it's probably about like 1:30 at this time. She's like, well, what are you gonna do? And I said, I'm not gonna do it. And she's like, you know what? There's an ATM right there. You're gonna pull fucking money out, and you're gonna go get your photo with this guy because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and who knows when the fuck he's gonna be back.
I did say that, but I also said there is no way in hell I'm taking you home and listening to you bitch for the next month. I will smack you if you bitch because you let this go. I'd rather bitch about losing the money than you not being able to do what you wanted to do.
So and then boom, the day comes. It's 2:15. I'm standing in line. And I got this big smile on my face. I'm thinking of all these things that I'm gonna say to him, and the opportunity comes, and I'm next in line, and boom, like there were so many emotions that flew through me. Like I wanted to cry, and I took my photo, and it was awesome. And
I tell you what, that photo is adorable.
It was really cute.
I want that photo on a T-shirt. I want it. I want a whole line of clothing.
I want like a wall poster.
Yes, I want like a mural painted on the side of your house. That's a great picture.
It was cool. Like I got to say the things that I wanted to say. I didn't get to say everything because that'd probably be an hour worth of everything I wanted to say. But it was funny because I looked at him, I put my hand on his shoulder. I was like, "Hey man, I just want you to know, like I really like everything that you do."
Yeah.
And he like gave me a big hug, and that's where I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna cry."
Yeah, not so much big because he's really short. He's like my height.
He's a tiny.
He's super
he was
short.
small.
Yeah, he's a miniature guy.
Yeah, it was funny though too because when you do that like ticket to meet the celebrity, it's like $86 to meet them and shake their hand and get a picture, and then you're on your way. That's up to 4 people. So we kind of had that moment as a nerd couple where it's like, should I go in? Because I like Kevin Smith. I mean, I'm not obsessed with him, but I like him. And it's like, should I be in the picture? Should I not? And it's funny because it's like, without entertaining the idea of like someday we might not be together, it's actually almost kind of romantic because it's like this is your moment. Not that I'm calling myself like a romantic or anything, but it's his moment. He got his picture with him, and I was like, you know what? If I was able to go meet Tom Felton right now around the corner, you best bet your ass you wouldn't be in that picture with me. Because if you leave me, I'm not cutting that photo up. But it was nice. I got to hug him too. It was pretty cool.
That is awesome. So, Chris, tell us something that even for you is just too damn nerdy.
That's kind of like a tough question to answer. If I would have to say, if anything's just too nerdy, the only thing, and this is recently, no offense to any of the listeners out there or to you Jesi. Guys, but it's Doctor Who, and this is like the last couple of days recently where my wife's like told me about it, and we were at Megacon, and I saw these damn shirts with the what's that?
Dalek probably,
or the TARDIS.
TARDIS.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm like, what is this fucking show?
Why do people like boxes so much for Orlando?
Why do people like phone booths? And she's like, babe, you're going to get jumped if you say that.
Yeah,
so,
I did. I told her, like, don't say that too loud.
I was like, I will fight them all. But anyway, so when we came back, she showed me this show, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Like, that's a tall cup of water to drink.
It's pretty damn British. I will concede that, but I also concede that Chris is never invited back on the show. So goodbye, Chris. All right, folks, we're going to bring back, by popular demand, a little game that we have formally named SHART ATTACK. Mm-hmm. And SHART ATTACK is, we played this in our very first episode, where we randomly draw the name of some sort of fandom, something nerdy, and we give ourselves a time limit to describe that fandom. So since we've got our special guest, Chris, here, he's going to be in the hot seat this time.
He's going to be, we're doing a diarrhea round.
Diarrhea round. This is, going to be some serious sharting. So listen for the tone, but we're going to have Chris draw a fandom. He'll have 10 seconds to describe that fandom before the SHART ATTACK tone is played. Then we're just going to draw another one. We're just going to keep on going. Diarrhea flash round. So, all right, we're going to get this party rolling. Here we go, Chris. Your very first fandom is...
American Horror Story.
All right.
Ooh, man. If I had to explain it real quick, I would say it's a coven of witches that go through some serious crap, and they try to figure things out within the series, and there's really cool effect. Okay.
All right, there's your short right there.
Next one.
That's pretty good.
And now we have Once Upon a Time, the TV show.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Come on, let's go.
Cinderella and Magical Slipper. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but yeah, she.
All right.
Cinderella.
All right, next we have Plants vs. Zombies, the app.
Yes. Okay. So Plants vs. Zombies. It's this app that's on iTunes that you can download. Sometimes free, sometimes not. And essentially, you can be a plant that's fighting off zombies that are trying to attack your farm.
Wow, that was like a good ad for Plants vs. Zombies.
It was
Thank you,
good.
thank you.
All right, you ready for this one? Your next one is Doctor Who.
Oh man, there's this guy that's super old, and he's got this TARDIS phone booth thing, and he takes these women, not in a sexual way, but he takes them over courses of time and goes through some crazy historical stuff.
Oh, man. All right, last one, folks.
All right, now we got Star Trek. Go.
Ooh, Star Trek. What's up? William Shatner. I almost shat my pants. So you got these group of geeks that are on this awesome star cruise, the Enterprise, and they're going around fighting off...
Fighting off sharks. Fighting off sharks. Oh, man. Thank you for playing, Chris. That was wonderful.
Thank you for having me on.
You're awesome. All right, so this is Jesi.
And this is Shelby.
And we are SPEW signing off. Blah! Blah! Oh, my stomach's upset.